So I have all of this black dye that I need to exhaust. Right now I've got some yarn in here that's actually for the colorway that I am creating that's new. But when I take this out, I'll still have a lot of black color in here. So what I'm going to do is take you over here and we're going to exhaust and make one of a kinds with this yarn. So here I've got superwash Colorway fingering, 2 skeins. Here I have 2 skeins of superwash 8515 merino nylon, and then I believe this is 20 gram minis of Peruvian Highland wool, not high wool. So, and that's superwash as well, I think. I have to check. Regardless, we're going to use all this to exhaust the rest of that black yarn or black dye, and then as this is cooling, I'm going to work on my colorway over here, and then whatever's left of that is going to go on here. Okay, I also wanted to mention that I've got different color waste yarn to move the yarn with, and also so that I can keep track of what yarn is what. So the gray is the Colorway fingering, the white is the 8515, and then obviously minis will be able to tell the difference between that. So I'm going to squeeze all the water out of all of these. They've been soaking for a half an hour in cool water, lukewarm that turned cool, and I have citric acid in my pot with the black dye. Oops. And I'm going to set up my camera and we can get started. I'm just going to dump all this in all at the same time. And then whatever strikes first with the color is whatever strikes first with the color. My main purpose in this is to just make sure that I exhaust the black that's in this pot so it doesn't go down the sink and into our water system. So there'll definitely be some moving around. I'm going to turn the heat on to a medium high. And if you've never done any yarn dyeing before, always make sure you have a dedicated pot for your small batch dyeing, or for any dyeing really, but especially if you're doing small batch, because it's going to look more like, you know, pots and stuff that you actually cook in at home, generally speaking. Dedicated utensils. This is my dedicated measuring equipment, stuff like that. I only ever use it for dyeing yarn. I'm not wearing a mask right now because I don't have any powder flying around. Everything's already touched liquid, so I don't really have to worry about it. Now, if I'm going to be standing over a pot that's steaming for a while, I will wear a mask because I have found that for me, it's more helpful respiratory wise to do that. So. So I'm getting a pretty cool gray color with some creamy gray tones, which is interesting. I'm just going to move this around. Most of that color is already gone. So as you can see, I'll move the camera a little bit. There's a little bit of light gray color left. With time and heat, that should completely go away. So I'm going to let this sit on the heat for a little while. Let it absorb those colors. I don't want to mess with the yarn too much because even though it's superwash, it could still felt. So I'm going to leave that alone. Let it sit on the heat for, I don't know, we'll look at it in 10 minutes and see what it looks like. It should be done in 10 minutes, honestly. There's not a lot of color left in here. And I'll be right back. I just wanted to let you know that after this, I go straight to what my leftover dye from the colorway that I was actually working on So I just wanted to give you a heads up that we go from this really pretty gray that you see me stirring around and exhausting all of that black and going straight into fuchsia. Okay, so I'm starting with the fuchsia leftover dye. I've got my bottles here: sapphire, lilac, oxblood, deep purple. Whoop! That's great. And teal. So I've got fuchsia that I'm putting in here right now. Clean that up. I don't really have a spot in my sink right now, so I'm just wiping this up. Just so I can set it on my counter. Try not to stain my counter. And I was playing around with the idea of whether or not to layer the yarn or pour over, and I've decided I'm going to layer it. So I'm going to get all of my yarn and dip it in here, and then we'll just go from there. I might actually just dip it in here and then layer everything else. Just kind of depends. Okay, here we go. Whee! Turn on my heat, put that on medium, and then I'm going to find my strings and rearrange the yarn. So we've got some gray. Whoop! What's going on over here? What are you doing? We have some gray, pink going on. Man, I almost want to stop right here. This is really pretty. I like this. Find my string. Okay. With that. All of my bottles already have citric acid in there, so I'm not adding any more. I'm basically just wanting to use up the dye that I've got, so it's not sitting around. And in the middle of doing all this, I actually found some more dye stock. It's going to add a lot of water to my pot already, though. This is leftover black that I had. If you've worked with black, you already know that it's hard to exhaust. Alright, so we're going to pour this over it and see what happens. Probably nothing since it's so light. Yeah, that's what I figured. But we got rid of it, so good enough for me. Some more black. What, baby? What, baby? Pour that on. Ooh, there's a little bit of glob of something in there. Ew, take that out. Sometimes you never know with these old dyes. Okay. And one more. Still looking pretty though. Okay. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to give it a glaze. That'd be cool. All right. Oh, let's move this around a little bit. I think I'm going to shuffle these skeins of yarn again. The water's not quite hot yet. It's still warm-ish. Yeah, it's getting warm. So let's keep adding color. Now what do I want to do? I really just want to stop there. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It actually reminds me a lot of Le Fleur. Since we already have Le Fleur, let's not try to do that again because we already have one. So I'm going to add some water to this just so I can do a proper pour over. So this is a lilac. So I just added a bunch here, so I don't know how much that is. That's not the point. I don't measure because I'm lazy. And you know what? Not all of us want to measure. Ooh, that looks nice. I'm gonna add some more water. Okay, there's like nothing left in there. There's hardly anything. So there's gonna be a lot of water in here when we're done. A lot of water. Okay, what color do you want to do next? Let's do, since we're on the purple spectrum, finish off deep purple. So I'm going to add some water to this too. Not a whole lot. Okay, I think I'm gonna let this sit and get the heat going before I add any more color. So I really want this to soak up. So I'll be back about 5–10 minutes. Okay, we're gonna do the shuffle. Do the shuffle. Well, most of that exhausted. Most of it. I think it's good enough for us to add some more colors. It's good enough. Oh, got some breaking over here. I'm not gonna be able to see that, but a little bit of breakage, just like a dark pink. Where's my string? You're not my string. There's my string. Okay. And as I move it around, it's getting a little bit lighter too. So. Okay. I think to kind of keep with the color scheme, I'm going to put some blue. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this. I don't want to turn it muddy, so since I have oxblood and teal, I may not put oxblood in there. I am going to put sapphire in there, so I'm going to add some water to that. Ooh, yikes. All right. Ooh, that was dramatic. Oh boy, that was very dramatic. but it's still on the same side of the color wheel, so not too bad. Okay, get rid of that. Yeah, I think I'm not going to put the red in there. I think the red will definitely muddy this. So we're going to put the teal. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit, move it around some more, throw the teal on it, and then that's it. So I'm going to clean this bottle up and store it away for another time. In the meantime, I'll add some water to this, but I'm just going to let it sit here and not worry about it until it's time to add to it. Let's see what this looks like. Let's move it around just a little bit. It's always fun trying to find the strings. I probably should use safety ties, but if I have waste yarn, then why buy a product that I don't have? You know? So you're probably wondering why I have my minis still twisted up. When you're dyeing yarn and it's twisted, the color comes from the outside in, and so it leaves, like it gets lighter as you go more toward the center. So as this is moving around, the color, like there's still going to be color all around it because it's thin, but it'll be lighter in some areas and darker in other areas. So you're kind of creating, not really a tonal, but like sort of a gradient, maybe. But it makes a nice variance. We are going to pour over the teal. I gotta say I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about pouring over the teal. I don't know how this is gonna come out. I'm a little scared. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm scared. I don't know how this is gonna look. Okay, it's actually mermaid vibes. Mermaid vibes. That might not actually be too bad. Wipe this up, get it out of my way. Okay, okay. I can kind of dig it. I can kind of dig it. Yeah, alright. It's definitely interesting. Maybe that's what I'll call it, mermaid vibes. Coming to Etsy soon. And hand me my buyer's market. I might keep a scheme for myself. So, let's see how we're looking on the color here. There's still a little bit of pink in the pot. But otherwise, everything is used up. So, I think what I'm gonna do is just let this come to a, not a boil, but let it simmer a little bit longer. Let the temperature rise a little bit more. And then I'm going to, where is the string? God. And then I'm going to shut off the heat and let it cool off in here, and all the pink should be gone. And then we'll see what it looks like later. String, 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 where are you, string? Oh my goodness. This is ridiculous. Where the hell is it? Are you kidding me right now? There it is. Oh my goodness. Okay. Ooh. All right. We're gonna let that heat set.